Hi, I'm Tom and I talk about code. Welcome to another Rust+Bevy GameDev live stream. My second stream of the day, okay? I've done a stream this morning and it didn't last very long. I had to do some life stuff and I thought, screw it, let's try doing an evening stream. Let's try and capture the other time zone because Australia is weird. So, this is my Rust+Bevy 2D game. I've got a couple of goals today. I started rewriting the input earlier this morning. I'm going to finish that. It's not going to take too much longer, I don't think. I drew a cool picture earlier about what that's going to look like and what that's going to do. I'm going to finish doing this. And then we're going to improve the way enemies spawn in. Right now, I have enemy spawners in my game. Let me actually jump over to my game and show off what this is actually going to look like, hopefully. Okay, so in the game, ignore my horrible programmer art. Oh, he's kind of charming. I don't hate this guy. But there are spawners located outside of the camera's range, and they will constantly spawn enemies forever. What I want to do is make them a little bit smarter. Say, only ever spawn 5 dudes, and then do something else, right? So you can kind of start to wire up waves of enemies rather than just having this never-ending shit show where you get overwhelmed. Maybe this is good sometimes, I don't know, but it's just a little bit too much and it makes it not really feel like an intentional game. It makes it feel a bit too random and overwhelming. So we're going to make these spawners smarter. We're going to have a spawner that spawns at most n guys. Let's say it spawns 5 guys and it stops forever. We're going to have a spawner that has at most 5 guys alive at any given time. And we're gonna, and these two things are subtly different, right? This one just spawns, say that you say at most 10, right? You spawn 10 guys, after you spawn 10 guys, you're done, you stop spawning. This one, you might say only spawn 10 guys, but you might also say only have 3 alive at any given moment, okay? So you're gonna spawn 3, once one of them's killed, you spawn a 4th, once one of those is killed, you spawn a 5th, and so on and so forth, until you've done 10, then you stop. And then I also want the ability to call an in-game event, to trigger, because there's a slight user scripting system, like a map scripting system. You can do a couple of things with it, and I want to be able to call one of these scripted in-game events after you've killed n enemies. The idea being that you can have a series of spawners rigged up such that they kind of go in waves, right? You spawn a couple of enemies. After you've killed a certain number of those enemies, the next wave of enemies starts, and, you know, at some point the level ends. That's the kind of structure we're going for. That's the kind of flow that we're going for. I also haven't tested my audio, so I am going to quickly do that in the background while I think about how I'm actually going to kick off doing this code. So let's pull up the picture that I drew before, okay? Because in the current world, I'm going to just draw over this picture, because I think that's easier. Okay, I have audio. I have confirmed audio. In the current world, this system doesn't exist. I've just started writing this morning, okay? So the player currently depends on the button input keycode resource. I've just written this new resource that kind of manages the current state of buttons in terms of game actions. So you don't actually have to care about keycodes or joystick, gamepad buttons, whatever they're called. It all kind of goes through one resource. But in order to drive this resource, I need a new super system that's going to manage all of the actual game inputs. So I've kind of drawn this dependency chart, right? This system is going to depend on our new binding resource as well as any button input resources that might impact it. With the, Bevy dependency injection system for writing a system. The player then only needs to know that this binding resource exists. It doesn't need to know about any of the other button input types in Bevy. That's a simple explanation. Let's dive in and do it. I had to stash my changes because they were just broken. They just weren't working. Okay. Let's do it. So I've got a set of game actions, and these are now, instead of directly querying for a button, you'll now query for a game action. Like, is this button being pressed this frame, etc. This means that our input bindings are good. It means that these need to be stateful as well. Does it? Yes. Yes, I'm saying that our input binding resource is going to be stateful. So we're gonna have 3. What are they going to be? Are they going to be hash maps? Let's make them hash maps for now. Let's have action held. Let's make it a hash map from a game action to a bool, we're going to have action just pressed, and we're going to have action just released. These get reset every time the system updates. This is the current state of the button. We can manage all of this. So input binding is going to work the same way as it always has. That's fine. And we just need to check every action in every resource. Okay, this is good. This is good. So when we use this input binding resource, we want to say, we want a function. The function is going to be the same as the ones here. It's going to be held, where we say action is a game action being currently held this update, this tick, this frame. Frame is a funny word to use here, but I guess frame is appropriate, okay? I guess frame is appropriate. So, is this button being held down? We just say, we return self dot, and we want to unwrap all here, right? Self dot, what did I call this? Let me put a mark here so I can jump back, because I will inevitably forget these names. Self dot action held get a unwrap or false. And we're going to do the same thing for just pressed It's going to look very, very similar, except instead of action held will be action just pressed, and then just released is going to be even more similar. In fact, we can just find and replace this. Excellent. And that's it. I think that's the whole... Yeah, I guess let's make functions to bind keys as well. Let's say bind key, a mutable reference to ourself, a game action that we're binding it to, and we'll have a key code, and we'll say self dot keys bind. For some reason this is backwards here. I guess I should swap these around so that everything looks nice and consistent. Game action. Okay, we'll say bind pad as well. Gamepad button. Awesome. All right, and that's the only API we need for this. Now we just need to write the system that actually runs it, which should be fine. Let's go down here. This is now a little bit different as well. This is now very, very different. Okay, so the only type we need to register is this input binding resource type. So that makes this simpler. This is now just an input binding resource. We just get the default value. That's all good. Actually, maybe not the default value, right? Input binding. We need the default value up here. And then we want to get bindings dot keys. We want to bind the default keys into this. And then put this resource in bindings. Because this resource, like we just want to set up some defaults. We'll load these from a more sensible place at some point, but for now we're just going to have these dumb functions that set up defaults. Excellent. Okay, that's good. That's good. So now we also need a system input. This doesn't need to be public. We're going to deal with this in the plugin for this this module. We need the key input, which is the button input key code. We need gamepad input, which is going to be the res button input gamepad button. We then also need the mutable resource, which is going to be the shared binding state that we've been dealing with so far. So let's call it bindings, and this is going to be the input bindings, plural here is a little bit tricky. In general, names with plurals in them, very hard to use, because it's very hard to know if you want a plural or not. Okay, so we got the bindings, we got the keys, we got the gamepad. That's all that we need, because all we're going to do is say for a in. Now, is there, okay, Rust iterate over all variants in enum. Is there a way to do this? I'd rather not pull in a dependency for this. Static. All right. Let's make a big dumb list of all the game actions then. That'll be fine. The dumbest possible list. I love it. I love it. Okay, we're gonna macro this. We're gonna make a macro called Q where we put game action at the front of everything. Awesome. Cool. Lovely. Actions. For each action, we want to say if bindings dot keys dot. Okay, so what am I saying? If bindings dot keys dot binding dot keys input binding dot held. If bindings dot keys dot held. I guess the first thing we do we clear everything. We clear all inputs, right? So we clear everything for kv in bindings dot action held. We want to iterate mutably because we want to change. We want to say, can we say v equals, can we do that? Or do we have to go bindings? Well, we can't borrow mutably while we've also borrowed, right? So we kind of have to, okay, Rust hash map iterate and change each key. I guess we don't need to do this either, right? Because we can also say for in act. Actually, hold on. I'm overcomplicating this. For each action, the first thing we do is we say bindings.action held dot set false dot rust hash map. What are we're setting it? Where is there a set function? No. Insert. Does insert override if insert a key, if the map none is returned, if the map did have the key present, the value is updated. Okay, so we want insert a false, and we want to do this for action just press, and we want to do this for action just released. Okay, so if we're holding A, or bindings.gamepad dot held A. I guess we can do this as well, right? We don't actually need an if here. We can just say bindings action held insert a. It's either of these things will result in the button being held, right? If anyone just held it, that's good. And then we do the same thing for action held just pressed. And then we want to replace pressed with released. And that updates all the state. Right? Every button action state gets updated to what is currently going on. That makes sense. That makes sense. I don't have to convince myself. This is beautiful. This works magnificently. Except I have somehow unbalanced my brackets. Awesome. So we want to run this every update. We also kind of want to do this. Okay, game physics set pre. I guess before any physics happens, right? Game physics set pre. Let's put it in the physics set. Let's put it in the before anything happens physics set. So in the plugin, we also want to say add systems. I want to go in update. Do we want to go in update? Inset. Now there's some of this in like character, right? Game physics set. Some of this in the character stuff. Game physics set inset. Okay, that's how we do it. Just got to remind yourself sometimes. And this is called update input resource.inset game physics set pre. Now, is there another thing to consider here? Yes, and that is that the player, when does the player run? See, okay, so all of the player controls runs in this pre-physics step. So actually we need like a pre-physics step. We need something, I guess we could just call it input, right? Let's call it, let's add a step to this called input. Pre is now after game physics set input. I think that's pretty good. I think that makes a lot of sense. I think that makes a lot of sense. Wait, we have a game input set. Okay, undo. Read, learn to read. Game input set. I already thought of this. I already did this. Run it before the physics. Okay, so it just runs in the game input set. And now we just need to include this as well. So we say use create game physics set. And now we just build this and it's gonna work. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Can I just get away with like not putting a type here? Maybe. Input binding. Bindings resource. Keys. And then there's also held. I guess I should rename held to pressed, right? Because then it's at least consistent. What am I doing? S held pressed. Held pressed, held That's okay, but all of the functions are now going to be pressed instead of held. That makes more sense. That makes a lot more sense. Input bindings resource. That's because use crate input input bindings resource. And then we just need to make that accessible, because when we have mod input, this needs to be a pub mod input. Okay. Wow. That was more errors than I expected. I'm gonna need a sip of my tea to get me through this. How do we do this? Okay, we haven't imported this. That's also good. And keep input doesn't exist. Okay. So we can start chipping away at this. Game action. Keep input. Yes, that resource doesn't exist anymore. What was that problem? Hold on. Input binding. I said this like a second ago, right? Input binding resource, bad name. Input bindings resource, bad name. I don't know. Anyway, you need a plural. It's very tricky. Game input set. Game physics set. Game input set. I can't remember if I typed that before or after I realized that I needed a different thing or not, but I hope it was after. Similarly named struct. Impl. Again, is it plural or is it not? Names with plurals in the middle, very, very hard. Okay, so this is an array of game action, and there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 of them. And I wish I didn't have to specify that. Resource is not satisfied. That's okay, that's because I misspelled my impl block. Or not. Where are we? Hold on. Whoa. Input, debug default. Yeah, that would check out. That would be because I didn't derive resource on it. It's funny when your compiler tells you that, you know, it's not a resource, and you're like, what are you talking about, mate? Now these game actions are called something else. Okay, now we're cooking. Key code. Hold on. Whoa. Every key code now needs to become a game action. Key code game. That looks better. We didn't write the file before building, so nothing happened. That's a NOP. Game action shoot. I think it's called fire, right? Yeah, excellent. Make B. Input bindings resource plural. Gosh, that I really had a lot of foresight with that, didn't I? Okay, expected a reference to a game action, found a game action. I guess that's because this should be a reference. Which is a bit silly. I don't know why we have to make a reference out of this, like it's a copy type. I would hope that that wasn't the case, but whatever, let's build again and see what happens. Okay, that is because I pasted my Discord announcement into the code by accident. That is never good. I was like, add announcement. What the hell? What have I done? Gosh, that's odd. I've never experienced quite that bad of an accidental paste in Vim before. Okay, expected a ref to a ball and found a ball. I guess we have to take a ref to the stupidest literal ever. Like, surely there's a way to get around this, right? Surely expected ball found. No. This is wrong. This is wrong. Hold on. This is very wrong. Rust option. There's gotta be something I'm missing, because I keep hitting into this, right? So it's like as deref. No, so I want the opposite of this, right? I want to deref. So get somehow like lifts into this reference space, but I want to as a ref. See, like I want the opposite of this. I want the absolute opposite of this. I wanna, yeah, this is what I want. Excuse me while I check my phone in the background as well. Okay, get message. Option comes with utility message for various transformations. Clone. To owned is also interesting. Okay, well let's try clone. Let's just try it. It kind of makes sense to me why this would work. And why it would make it not a ref anymore. Okay, no, that doesn't work. Let's try to owned. Where's this? To own. To owned. To owned. Hey dot to own. This is the thing inside the string, right? Okay, that maybe isn't what I want. But this clone is more clone. This is excellent. This is excellent. Convert T to option T. I don't know why you'd want that. Okay. I don't want to waste time on this, so I'm going to do the stupid thing. The most stupid thing. And make these refs and then put a deref at the start. And like, this works, I think. I think the operator priority is okay for this to work, but I don't like it. I'm got to be missing some idiomatic Rust thing here. Pressed, found a ref to an A. So this is like the opposite problem, right? An argument. Oh, sorry. If pressed, and then we just want to borrow keys, and here we want to borrow Gamepad. I forgot we needed to borrow these resources as well. Keys, Gamepad. Yes, and then these also need to have this deref. Wonderful, wonderful. And then this is also the same, right? This is also, we're just dereffing everywhere. I hope the compiler's smart enough to see that this is a copy type and that all this is just like, we're moving it around. We don't care. Warning, okay, error. So this vec doesn't need to be mutable for some reason. That's great. Cannot borrow data as mutable. Oh boy. Oh, hold on. Solved. Solved, mate. It's easy. Binding action, mutable borrow, later used by call. Mutable borrow occurs here. Immutable borrow occurs here. So this is one of these cases where trying to be clever has really bitten me. Because nesting this stuff, the borrow checker says no. The borrow checker says you cannot nest. Because this, like, because while we're evaluating this, we also need this to be mutably borrowed. We can't do that. So how can we possibly untangle this knot? Well, let me show you. It's really simple. Let B equals... let B equal this, and then we just insert B, right? We just move this to the outside. Let's call it pressed, just pressed. And then this is going to be let just released. Any keen Haskellers might have seen me trying to write a let X in statement there. That's really the tool that I wanted, so that I could just give them a shitty temporary name and not worry about like scope and stuff. Just pressed, and this is now just pressed, and this works. Except for the unclosed delimiter, this just works. Oh yeah, they've all picked up one too many parentheses. Okay, this is getting there, we're honing in. And it looks like this is actually building. This is gonna succeed this time. And look at that, not even a single warning. Cargo run. Cargo run features dev. That's a little nicer. We're gonna investigate this. We get a couple of warnings in dev mode because like some of my developer menu options, like the one that just let me win a mission instantly, they don't work properly, but that's okay. We're fine with that. And it's also funny, my stream preview, when I go full screen, my stream preview like doesn't falter, but my actual monitor takes a second to recalibrate to this, I guess, different resolution. Okay, so let's go into the tutorial and let's look at this input bindings resource. And it looks like we've got input bindings, right? We could, in theory, fuck around with these, which is great. I would love for this. Okay, well, let's see what this looks like. We can see that left and right are, well, look at this, right? So this is our just pressed array or like map. And we can see this like flicker just for a little microsecond. Hopefully that shows up on stream when I'm pressing left, when I'm pressing right, when I'm pressing up and down like this. When I'm pressing up and down, once I remember where the up key is on this keyboard. Excellent. So jump, fire. Nice. Okay, so, and this player is actually checking these, right? So if I changed one of these keys to be like, let's say digit 1, then left is going to turn, I'm pressing the 1 key now. The left key no longer goes left. I have to reach over and press the number 1, which is super jank, but I love that I can play around with this in real time. That's fantastic. That's really fantastic. I wish, what happens if I go new element here? I just can't do it, and it's something to do with this type, I assume. But yeah, I could add more to this, right? So let's add a second element here, and let's make this arrow. Whoa. Oh, I forgot. If I press R, I reset. So where are these arrows? F35. That's a lot of function keys. No one needs that many function keys. I'm very suspicious of this. Are these alphabetical except for arrow? Where's my here it is, arrow left. Okay, so we've got arrow left and we've got arrow right, and we also have digit 1. So I'm pressing left and I'm going left. And if I come over here and I press digit 1, I also go left. So that's cool. We can mess around with this. Once I add a menu to configure this, that'll be fan-freaking-tastic. Let's do this for Gamepad as well. Let's see if I can actually like play my game with a Gamepad, because that would be kind of awesome. By default, Gamepad. I have no idea. Gamepad button. I have no idea what Gamepad button is, and if it's possible to do this without a significant amount of trial and error. So let's look at Gamepad button. Okay, Gamepad, button type. Oh, this is more complicated than I thought. We need to, there's a gamepad. Okay. Maybe we just need D-pad up. Okay. Southeast, northwest. I'm assuming that upper action. This is good. I like this cardinal direction for representing the actual action buttons. This is cool. Okay, so gamepad button type. I think actually maybe want gamepad button type. I don't know. Wait, how does this work? Let's just try it. Let's just start doing it. Gamep. And we're gonna go gamep. Action left. So except instead of key codes here, so let's just do up, down, left, right. And this is gonna be gamepad button new gamepad button type. Oh, excuse me. Okay, well we have to use new. Gamepad new. Gamepad with an associated ID. Okay. So we're gonna make up a gamepad ID. Gamepad new. And we're just gonna pick the number 1 because I guess that's okay, but it probably isn't the number 1. Then we're gonna make a gamepad button new. It's gonna have gamepad GP, and it's gonna be D-pad. It's gonna be gamepad button type, and it's gonna be D-pad left. Okay, that was more typing than I anticipated, so we're gonna do some gratuitous copy paste here. We're gonna have to actually handle this event, certainly. Now let's not make these all left, let's have a right, let's have an up, and let's have a down. Okay, and then we'll do the same thing up here. When we bind default keys, we'll bind default gamepad, bindings.gamepad. And this will be wrong somehow. Closing delimiter possibly meant for this unclosed delimiter. Okay. Yep, that makes sense because I never closed this thing off. Oh yeah, because that actually went at the end. Okay. Somehow this is correct. Somehow this compiles. And if I run it right now and I hit this button on my controller, do I get to control the game? If I go down to my tutorial. No, I do not get to control the game from my gamepad. Because, almost certainly, because I have got the wrong gamepad ID. If I scroll up far enough, it should tell me what the ID is. If I scroll up very, very far, gamepad detected. Okay, what ID though? UID have supported. New event. So, event 21. What UUID do you have? Do you get to tell me? Maybe, maybe not. Global volume, blah, 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 input binding resource, blah, 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 ID. Let's try ID 21, maybe. Let's up. Let's try ID 21. D-pad left. Okay. Where do we... Gamepad detected. GilRS. Do you tell me what? Gamepad. EV code. Okay, I've got a better idea. Rather than trying to guess at this, let's look at an example. Rust+Bevy examples. Let's find them on GitHub. Or I guess here. Now let's look at them in GitHub because then we don't load a WebGL2 context. Here's on Twitch, scam, fix that. Okay, that's one hell of a chat message I just got. Let's have a look at this. This is like a curiosity of the internet, okay? Long live chaos. Esport, Twitch, online casino, sports betting scam, fixed match. Hello, hell doesn't exist. Don't be afraid of death, you'll be stronger. Open your trap. Add bleach to the food and throw it in the fire. What the hell? That's incredible. Should I pin this message? I don't want to delete it, right? I feel like this is someone's life work. Someone's life's work. I don't know. This bot's trying very hard, so we'll let it live in peace unless it spams more stuff. Input. Let's look at these gamepad examples. Gamepad input. Here we go. How do they find the gamepad? Gamepad res gamepads. Okay, that's beautiful. Let's bind these keys to every single gamepad. This is the new solution. We will wait. Hold on. Oh, but it needs to be a system for this to happen. Oh, do we write a gross one-off system that does this, like a one-shot? Does that make sense? Or do we just have to do this once on startup, right? We write a really jank startup event that will do this. This is what we're doing. This is now a system. Okay, we now take a res mut to a input bindings resource, and then we're also going to take this bad boy Okay, so now we're gonna loop over all gamepads. So for gamepad in gamepads.iter, we're just gonna say GP. We might have to dereference here, but we'll see what happens. And then when we start up, and this is called bind default gamepad. Bind default gamepad. Okay, here we go. Gamep not found in the scope. Not found in the scope. Input.gamepad.bind. Bind default gamepad. Oh yeah, that no longer exists. I think I might be missing a mut. Yeah, I am. So this needs to be mutable because it's a mutable resource. Excellent, excellent. Okay. That still somehow didn't work, but that's okay. That's okay. I might be doing it too early in startup. Let's find out. Let's have a look at what the resource says. So if we go into our resources, sorry, menu is probably quite hard to read on stream. This menu is probably quite hard to read on stream. I can probably make it bigger somehow. Input map, gamepad, nothing. Cool. So at what point does a gamepad get like bound? Gamepad system for each gamepad. Yeah. Yeah. Okay, so maybe this needs input events. Gamepad events, gamepad ordered events. Connection events. Maybe when a gamepad gets connected, then we do this setup. Oh god. God. What do you even do with this? What do you even do? Yeah, well, let's do this. Let's do this. Let's go. Oops. When a gamepad gets connected, connection event. What's in a connection event? Gamepad connection event. Gamepad connection event. It has a gamepad in it. Excellent, excellent. So I want to look at gamepad connection events for, perfect. So for CE in connection events. This is it. And now instead of GP, we just say, let's let GP equals CE dot gamepad. Okay. And then we just need to import this bizarre type, which comes from input gamepad. Bevy input gamepad connect event. Connection event. All right, here we go. It's happening. It's happening. It is not an iterator because we need to say iter sometimes. Oh no, hold on. That's not how we iterate, it's read. Read. Excellent. Okay, this time it's gonna work. This time it's gonna be fine. Except we need to do this now on update, not just on startup. Perfect. Okay, this is good. I like this. I like how this is going. I like how this is cooking. And that works, but we're in the wrong level. Okay, so this feels pretty good, right? We can go back and forward. I can't jump yet, but let's fix that right now. Let's do that at runtime. Input binding resource, gamepad, ID 0. Oh, I mean, I was so close. Like I can mess around with this ID and take away my ability. If I'd have just tried ID 0 instead of 1, this would have been a lot simpler. Anyway, I can't add new elements to this at runtime. Let's just add it to my big dumb list instead. I was so hopeful, but that's okay. These things happen. Okay, so we need a jump, we need a fire, we need a dash. I guess we need like a confirm and a return as well. So let's go confirm, return. Excellent. Okay, so up, down. Let's go game action, fire, jump, dash, confirm, return. Cool. Down, fire, D-pad. Now what button should shoot? What button should shoot? Probably square, right? So D-pad west. And then jump will be D-pad south. Dash will be D-pad. We want the left trigger, right? I guess L trigger. Right trigger, left trigger. Let's go left, except it's not D-pad, is it? That is D-pad. West, south, left trigger. Confirm will be south, and return will be west. Okay. This might break. I might have mistyped something. I'm prepared to take that risk. Nice. Okay, we've got gamepad. That feels good. That feels much better than doing this with a keyboard. Oh, that feels so good. That's so exciting. There's something to be said about trying your game with a controller for the first time. So like, I don't know. It's just cool. It's just a cool feeling. I feel like this is going to be a lot crispier. It's going to be a lot easier to get people to understand the game if they can play it with a controller. And it's a lot easier to do stuff like a wall climb with my instant turnaround dash. Yeah, that's good. That's really good. I feel like this game is going to make a lot more sense with a controller. Okay, I'm going to get carried away and just like move around. There is another thing I need to do, but right now let's do a cargo format. Anything in Clippy? I should have run this in Vim, but it's all good. Okay, so git add source input. Input, hold on. Lib player input. Sweet. Now the next step for this is to look at the menu, because the menu is controlled in a very janky way. I have two menus right now, and they're both special. They're both special. They shouldn't be special. Okay. Res. So now instead of this, it's just going to be input, and the resource, instead of being this button input, is going to be the input bindings resource. And we're just going to say input just pressed game action down. And it's just a nicer abstraction. Up. And if we've just pressed game action confirm, then we go to the next menu. And this is kind of interesting as well. This is all good. So then if we go to menu options, we need to do the same thing again because it's silly, it's bad. Also, we need to think about what we need to actually include here. What we need to include here is input, game action, and input bindings resource. Excellent. Whoops. Excellent. Okay. Okay, we're seeing progress here. So what if I make B now? Okay, well, that feels okay. That feels pretty good. Let me just double check what's going on here. Okay, I can't navigate with my controller for some reason, but that's okay. Wait. Can I navigate with the keyboard still? No. Okay, so I've just broken menu navigation entirely. But that's okay, that's okay. Why does this never succeed? What goes wrong? Main menu input. We've just pressed. Is it a problem with just pressed? Probably not, right? Because, probably not, because we're using that on the player. We're using just pressed and just released. Jump relies on just pressed. Okay, so if I look at resources, input bindings resource. Okay, what's the state? Yeah, so the input system only runs in the input system only runs in the main loop, and that's not good. So it actually shouldn't, right? The input system should run in every state. We can get button inputs regardless of what our state is. So let's go back into where we wire that up, and we say game input state runs before physics, but it doesn't actually have a condition like this. It just runs all the time. The input state always runs. All those systems run all the time. If you're depending on it not being like that, that's kind of a problem. Excellent. Okay, so that works. That works very, very well. Nice. Nice. This is feeling good. This is feeling good. Okay. So let's fix the other snowflake menu. Menu options. Eventually I'm going to have a menu that, does the binding. We can like change this in game and hopefully save it somewhere. That would be cool. Input res. The resource is called input bindings resource. Bindings plural. And now we're going to make the same changes because input because I wrote this second menu in a bit of a hurry, right? Like I've done the duplication now, and now there's a clear path forward for how I have to fix it. Like there's a lot of copy paste here, so it's really, really obvious what can't stay, like what I have to change. But anyway, I'm gonna get distracted. Now there's another thing here, right? What's the other thing? Add system, menu input. How do I go back? Back. Oh, that's just a thing I actually select. So if I cargo R, if I go back to menu and copy and paste this extra dependency, now if I cargo R, I can go into settings, I can toggle full screen, I can go back, I can start the actual game. Lovely. This is really, really good. This is going well. It's nice when you can just like enjoy having added something to your game, right? Like trying this with a controller for the first time, it's just good. It just feels good. It feels more natural. Keyboards are great. I love keyboard and mouse gaming, but not for like your little Mega Man clone, right? It just doesn't make sense. There's something dirty about it. I need to add particle effects to the dash. I think that'll make everything read a lot better. That's one of my high priorities for this coming week. Whoa. So it's all, the muscle memory is all a little different, right? Like I've been messing around with this movement system, with a slightly different version of this movement system, I guess. So these two wide gaps are a little awkward to navigate with the new bigger player size, but it's good. I think it's feeling pretty good. And I think it has that kind of snappy Mega Man-esque vibe. I need to stop saying Mega Man because I really don't want to just make a Mega Man clone, but I've definitely taken a lot of inspiration, right? Okay, so the next thing that was on my list for today, because I think I can really kind of say that this input stuff is like done. I really think it's done. Nice, okay. Oh, right, hold on, there's one more screen. There's one more screen that actually has a special case input. We're gonna fix that, we're gonna fix that. Mission report. Back to menu. Okay, so this is going to be the same thing where instead of relying on this, we're going to rely on input, bindings, resource, and we're going to look for game action confirm. Okay, I think that's good. I think that's good. And then when you press confirm, so instead of and I guess we just get rid of this continue part, right? We just no longer prompt that. And then of course I need to add the missing imports. I was on the right line and everything. Awesome. It's easy to forget that. It's easy to forget that. So now all of our inputs, I'm pretty sure, are going through the same thing. And that's a very happy time. And it just feels solid, right? I've just hit this point. It's all feeling better. All right, so we're gonna take damage, we mission fail, and then we can continue. And the explosion effects don't get updated while you're in the menu or on the mission clear screen, so that kind of sucks. They kind of hang around weirdly into your like respawn. So that needs to get fixed. That needs to go on my list. That actually won't be a hard fix, but I don't want to pollute this branch with it. Okay. Awesome. That feels good. That feels good. We've done good things today. And we've got more time to do more good things. Awesome. So we continue to fly forward here. Let's have a look at what we're doing. Okay. Finish input rewrite. I think we can call that done. I think we can put a big old check mark there. Sorry for writing in red. I normally write in green and then check in red. That's a little different. That's a little different. Okay. So, smarter spawners. Do I want to tackle this right now? You know, I've just had a good win. I've just had a really good win. And you know what? I think I'm actually going to call it there. I'm going to tease with a little bit more. But I can feel my energy dropping. I don't want to drag myself through the mud to do more. You know, if it means doing 2 shorter streams in a day, maybe that's better. I don't know. I don't know what works. But rather than dragging, like starting something new, hopefully that means I can start it and finish it in a single stream, hopefully tomorrow. All right, I can feel, like once I have smarter spawners, it's going to feel like so much more of a real game. I'm going to be able to put real levels together, I hope. And it's gonna all make more sense. That's my gist. That's my feeling. That's my hope and dream. So this has been a weird day, 2 shorter streams, but thank you everyone who's tuned in and had a look. I will do the quick thing that I'm going to try and do at the end of every stream where I talk about my wonderful goals and the wonderful people who have supported me so far on this journey. I'm trying to save up for an HDMI capture card. I'm currently not really at a point where I can prioritize spending that money just out of my own pocket, and it would be nice, you know, I haven't made any money from doing any of these streams, so it'd be nice if they can kind of pay for themselves. That's my goal at this point. That would be a good kind of proof of concept for how I can continue to do this in the future. So a very generous person who has opted to remain anonymous has donated a bit of money so far. The bar's filling up. It's slow, but we're going to get there. And then when I do the PlayStation 2 stuff, is all going to get better because I'm going to have better options for HDMI capture, real consoles hooked into the stream. It's going to look fantastic. Anyway, I hate doing that, but I'm going to do it and I'm going to see what happens. Thank you very much, everyone who's tuned in. This is a different camera angle for me. There's, you know, I'm standing up at my desk, I'm feeling more energized, and this game is really starting to feel like a game. So thank you again for everyone who's stopped by, and I will hopefully see you all very, very soon.